Hi everyone, Lewis here from CollateralGaming, bringing you another video of me learning to play TERRAN on Starcraft 2. So, first up, here we go, Protoss, and this looks like a silver player, I believe. And yeah, here we go, straight off the bat. So, this has already been pre-recorded and pre-edited. I was doing a stream, but I just couldn't be bothered to have face cam and talk. So I thought I'd just chop some clips up and do a sort of a cast and a voiceover. So, you can see here doing standard opening that I've sort of learnt now and got to grips with, where you open up with the barracks, slam down the gas geyser, put I was about to say a house. So I've been playing a lot of Age of Empires 2, not a house, a supply depot or depot. And there you go. I put the second one down there to trap the probe and jump ahead a bit. And we're going for the 3 racks that I'm putting down. I put down a reactor there as well. He's put a Protoss gas geyser to scout. I get a Reaper out. I see that he's opening up his natural, and this is a really good bit here where I'm getting to grips with the micro of the Reaper, harassing, and a lot of low-level players don't really know how to deal with this. But this guy sort of does shut me down quite easily. Some poor micro there on that in that regard. But yeah. Unfortunately, didn't get too far. Already opened up on my natural, getting the orbital command up, and just getting rid of the gas geyser there, so it hasn't got any more vision of my base. So I'm sort of building up a few marines, a couple more orders, chucking down a bunker as well for that defense. And this is where he sort of starts to push out with a couple of stalkers, and I get a little bit worried here, to be honest. But as you can see, my little marines come down to sort of push them back a bit. Annoyingly, they attacked my SCV, so I had to get another SCV to repair. So doing a little bit of micro here. Made sure that I actually deleted the building rather than let it blow up, otherwise I would have lost my 75 minerals. But yeah, I mean, I think because I was playing with Zerg a lot rather than TERRAN, I'm really conscious about expanding, which you shouldn't really be with TERRAN, because the most conscious you should be about expanding is actually with Zerg, because you got to really be essentially one base ahead of your opponent. But yeah, you can see that I've already started. I've already got a 3rd base down, I think, and I've got a decent little size of units here. Quite a good sort of composition. Haven't got a medevac though, and I spot his observer, because I could see that the sort of the way that the textures were flickering around. I noticed that there was an observer that was cloaked, so I took him out, which was pretty good. But yeah, I think, I'm going to be honest, TERRAN are a lot easier to play than Zerg first time. But when I played Zerg, I'd never played Starcraft, so you've got that element as well. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think with TERRAN there's a lot more micro involved than Zerg. Zerg is more about massing units up. There's still micro involved, but I think there's definitely more micro heavy with Protoss. And I can see that there's an observer. I can see it right there flying around. It doesn't really make it very discreet. And I know that he's got DTs in. And this is a horrible point because I'm clicking it and I haven't got a scan available. So yeah, that was quite unfortunate, but I do have a scan available now, and I managed to deal with it. So that's why you should always have a lot of orbital commands rather than the fortress that you go for. But you can see he's sort of just gone basically mass stalker, a few colossi, and an archon. I mean, this is unfortunate. I'm in a tricky spot here. Yeah, and the storms absolutely destroyed me, which is a shame. And that's GG. Unfortunate, but what can you do? That was poor positioning, I think, by me, looking back on it. When I should have sieged up a lot further back, but what can you do? So look, we're at rank 15, tier 2 silver, so getting really close to moving up to tier 1. And after tier 1 is that fabled gold that I'm trying to get to. So here we go with the second game. Okay. So standard opening again, same sort of thing. This is against TERRAN. and he lets his supply depot actually down there, so I can actually get into the base a bit. And I find out that he's sort of just going 2 racks really, very similar to me, so nothing really to worry about. But I've gone for a Reaper again, so I'm really trying with this harass to really throw him off and put him on tilt a bit, get him a bit annoyed. So I'm going into the middle. Right, look, immediately, look, it's really good doing that, because the minute they take off all their SCVs, they're wasting time. They're wasting valuable time to collect materials, and my SCVs are perfectly fine. So I'm using this Reaper, which barely costs me anything, to sort of harass their mineral line and just wind him up a bit, really. Which I think's working, because he's just getting a bit annoyed. Look, he's still pulling the SCVs. Look, I'm nearly dead. There you go. But he pulled them again for a second time, so really, really good. I've opened up on my second base here. I don't think he has. Jump a little bit ahead, and just got a standard sort of Marine Marauder composition. Nothing too fancy. Going sort of bio. I am going pretty much all games I go bio. If it's Zerg, I tend to go more mech, but I don't really understand full compositions yet within TERRAN. I'm just sort of going with the Marine Marauder tank. Exactly how he's done, actually. But I knew that he was setting his tank up there, so I thought I'd just, you know, poke a little bit, see what we can get. Also, what I'm doing is I'm essentially denying him of his natural. As you can see, I'm on my natural, I'm on my second base now, and he's still 1 basing. So my economy is way better than his already. Zip ahead here, where I actually got a decent army, and I go back for a second time and see what we can do here. So I think the Reaper was really, not the Reaper, the I don't even know the name. Oh, the spaceship there, the spacecraft that's shooting and has an area where it shoots. I can't even remember what it's called. Was really crucial there. So as you can tell, still a noob at TERRAN. I don't even know what all the blooming units' names are. So quite siege heavy here. I do this. I've done this strat a couple of times where I use the Vikings as field of view, and it gives the siege tanks some range to actually pick off. And you can see I've nearly destroyed his Thor entirely. And at this point, I looked at his base and I was like, he's got nothing. So I'm literally just going to go for it. I'm just going to push and see what happens. And pretty favourable, as you can see, absolutely wiping them out and move the siege tanks up. It's pretty much GG at this point. So he's got another siege up there, but we actually managed to pick it off. And I sort of just BM him a bit with the Vikings, drop them down, clear up his Marines, destroying all their SCVs. It's pretty much game over. I do find with this sort of league with silver and gold that when you've clearly defeated your enemy, they just don't GG quick enough. They just long it out for some reason. I don't really know why, but hey ho. Up to rank 9 now, so getting even closer. MMR's going up at 2412. Moving on to a Protoss game. Now, this guy's actually a gold. Not too sure if he's gold in Protoss, but he's a gold nonetheless, so he's sort of gold level. Now let's see how we do here. So quickly jump forward. You can see that I think I'm going for a 3 racks. I'm not entirely sure. Going for an early eBay, which is something that I'm doing quite often. You can see I've got my command center there. I thought I'd put it on the high ground because I'm not too sure. Sometimes the Protoss like to go for a sentry build. So here we're at sort of full saturation of both bases. Once again, same sort of composition, going for the Marine Marauder with the siege tanks. Got the starport up now with the reactor, so that's going to be churning out some medevacs to help. And once again, just going to poke really, have a look, see what he's got. And this really threw me off. I haven't come across a player that uses these, and I don't know what they're called, but they're sort of time bombs that will basically put your units in stasis, and they've got a timer. And at this point, I knew that the majority of my army was screwed, but I didn't know whether to go and help. So I thought I'd stim up and see if I can help. But alas, it was too late. The siege tank couldn't even siege up. So I just got the medevacs out of there, and yeah. As you can see, third base again, 11 minutes, got a third base. So I think I've got the expansion down and sort of the macro part down. It's now just trying to get max pop. I seem to just not get to 200 pop for some reason. Here we go. This is going to be a great fight here. This is a really, really good fight. So obviously he's got Mothership with some carriers. But I don't know what he's doing position-wise. Now I've got the high ground with the siege tanks. I'm using my scans to reveal. And yeah, the siege tanks are just absolutely doing work here. All he's got left is his sky units, his aircraft. And yeah, the Marines are holding up because of the medevacs. And I've got a Thor as well that's doing some work. But see, without that third base, I wouldn't have as many scans. So it's always good to have some scans. I could have got a Raven, and I wouldn't need to scan. A Raven would have been good here. Maybe a couple of Vikings and a Raven would have been really good in this instance. I don't really have a lot of experience using Ravens yet, so that's why I haven't really decided to get them. Same with Ghosts. I haven't really made any Ghosts, so I'm just trying to get the sort of the standard units out. I don't tend to really get the battle cruisers either, which are quite popular. I tend to go for Thors. I don't know why, but I just do. So anyway, this is sort of a real tug of war here. I really enjoyed this fight. He tries to warp in, but I make sure to focus down the warped in units. The Mothership isn't doing a huge amount. Their carrier ships have run out of the little fighter ships, so they're pretty much useless. And I just sort of slowly clear up here with the Marines. Once again, I got that early engineering bay, so it really helped my upgrades, and that was a win. And there it is. So you can see, army value-wise, I was actually below pretty much all the time. And you can see now that I'm rank 8, so I'm in the top 8 now of the of tier 2. So moving on to the next one. This is a Zerg. I don't have a lot of luck with Zerg. I don't know the strat against Zerg, to be honest. I tend to go mech heavy, as I mentioned before. And oh wait, no, this wasn't Zerg. Excuse me, wasn't it Zerg? This was a Terran. So I remember this fight. This Terran guy, he went Vikings. He went Viking heavy and tried to drop all of his Vikings to destroy my mineral line, which he did. He did pretty well. Don't get me wrong. He destroyed about 8 to 10 SCVs there, and he does destroy the orbital command there. So I'm pretty sure he does. Yeah, he flies up. I'm pretty sure he takes it out, which is kind of frustrating for me. But I do pretty well defending the situation. Annoyingly, I didn't have any units really at the base, so kind of frustrating. But so I decided to drop an armory down. I don't really know why I dropped an armory down, to be honest. I think I wanted to go for Reavers potentially, but I don't know why. Maybe to deal with the Vikings. You can see I've got a Reaver there, so that's why I dropped the armory. Also, that's also what I wanted to do. I wanted to get some Vikings, to try and get some upgrades on them. But yeah, so once again, same sort of composition, poking. I can see he's got a fortress, which is a bit interesting, which means that he's a bit nervous. That was absolutely stupid of me, right there. I just rammed my forces in. That was rubbish. So here's a second attempt. That's a Liberator, that's what they're called, which does quite well against siege tanks. So the Liberator does a lot of work there. That was a great placement, I think, for me. I sort of sniped the Terran, the siege tank there, which was good. And I do it again, just trying to poke. He hasn't got many units. He hasn't got enough to deal with the Liberator. And if the Liberator does get a bit of heat, I can deal with it. And this is where he does his same strategy again. So he denies my third base with all his Vikings, but I managed to catch a few Vikings here because he's not really paying attention. And my Marines just clear up, which is quite good. And they drop down, but the siege tank then deals with the units. So that was a really good trade there. Like resource-wise, that was really good. And that was a good defense as well. So I was quite happy with that. And at that point, he didn't really have much. He invested a lot into the Vikings. So that's when I literally decided, you know what, I'm going to move up. We have a situation here where he's repairing the fortress. And I basically get the siege tanks to target the SCVs, stop that repair, shut it down, and hopefully win the game. So we're going to see how this turns out. The Liberator, I just thought, you know, why not? Stick it there. Get it to pick off a couple of SCVs, which he did, picked up 2. And I can see that he's attacking my... He goes to the... He's got a couple of Vikings again, but I've got Marines are there, ready to completely shut it down. Once again, Marines... I think they've got some decent upgrades. That's sort of my strat now. And he just completely GG's on it. And that's pretty much it, guys. So that's all the games that I've got to show you. And there it is, right at the end. The beautiful silver tier 1, which is awesome. So we are one step closer to getting that gold, which I really, really want. I'm having a lot of fun playing Terran. And I just hope you're enjoying the series on YouTube. I am streaming it every now and then on Twitch. Not as much as I want, but what can you do? On that note, my name's Lewis from Collateral Gaming, and I'll see you in the next one. Catch you guys later.